For warm up with multiplying, remember when we have x minus 5 quantity squared, all I do is cover that squared with a parenthesis and just copy this down. And then you can either use the Punnett square or the FOIL method. I'm just going to use the FOIL method. So x times x is x squared. And then this is negative 5x, and negative 5x would be negative 10x. And negative 5 times negative 5 is 25. So by now I feel like you should be able to do the outside-inside term in your head. So you could just write it as a trinomial. So that would be your letter A. Number 2, so we have x times x is x squared. Then we have 5x minus 5x, so that cancels out to be 0. And negative 5 times 5 is negative 25. So x squared minus 25. Number 3, we have 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times 7 is 14x plus 1x gives you 15x, and 1 times 7 is 7. So that's letter E. Over here with factoring. So now this is what you just recently learned. So we're going to have 2 parentheses, factors of 4, 1 and 4, 2 and 2. Both of them are plus, x plus, x plus. So we need factors of 4 that add up to 5. So it'd be 1 and 4, or 4 and 1. Here we go. All right, so we've got this, x and x. Since the signs are both minus, one will be minus, one will be plus. Factors of 12 that subtract to give you a negative 1, so that would be 3 and 4. The 4 would be negative, and the 3 would be positive. So we have x minus 4 and x plus 3, which is letter G. All right, we've got these. So we've got an x and an x. Since this last term is a negative, they're going to be different. Factors of 18 that when you subtract give you 3. That would be 3 and 6. The 6 would be positive because that middle term is a positive 3. So x minus 3x plus 6 would be letter D. All right, so that's a little warm-up. Now what we're going to do is we're going to look at some different specials. I really think this is easier than what you've done. This is called a perfect square trinomial, which means you're going to be dealing a lot with square roots. So when you look at this one right here on number 7, we're going to have an x and an x. Since this last term is positive, they're going to be the same. That tells you what they're both going to be. And the square root of 64 is 8. And if you add outside inside, that would give you 16 in the middle. Now, since this is the same thing, you're going to write this down one time, put parentheses around it, and square it. All right, let's take a look at number 8. So since that's a plus, signs are going to be the same. That tells you what they're both going to be. Square root of 9 is 3, so 3x, 3x. Square root of 25 is 5. So same thing inside, 3x minus 5, quantity square. All right, so that's perfect square trinomials. This other one is the difference of two squares, two perfect squares. The difference of two squares can be written as one's a minus and one is a plus. Square root of 64 is 8. And you don't have a middle x term because the outside-inside terms cancel out. So here, one's a minus, one's a plus. The square root of 4 is 2, so 2x and 2x. And the square root of 81 is 9. There you go. All right, so let's take a look at 11 through 16. It says, ask yourself if the first and last terms are perfect squares. So, yes, x times x is x squared, and 36, yes. So, both of them will be plus. And the square root of 36 is 6. And if you add 6 and 6, you get 12. So we write this as x plus 6 quantity squared. 12, both of them are perfect squares. So this would be 5x plus 2 and another 5x plus 2. And you can always test this using the FOIL method or the Punnett square. But the outside term would be 10x, and 10x, middle term, would give you 20x. So this would be 5x plus 2 quantity squared. 13, yes, 16 and 1 are both perfect squares, so this would be 4x, 4x, and since that's a plus, tells you they're going to be the same, that tells you what they're both going to be, and 1 times 1 is 1. So we'd have a negative 4x, and a negative 4x gives you the negative 8x, so we have 4x minus 1 quantity squared. All right, and then 14, this is the difference of two squares. So remember, if they're the difference, one's going to be a minus, one's going to be a plus, and the square root of 9 is 3. And then same thing here. We have 5x minus 6, and this would be 5x plus 6. So you wouldn't have a middle term. 16, this is not a perfect square. So therefore, that one is not factorable. So we call it prime. All right, let's take a look here. Oops, that did not take. Oh, so we have some, looks like some EOC type practice problems. It says expression 100x squared minus 169y squared factors using difference of two square formulas. What is one of the factors? So the square root of 100 is 10, and it does have x squared, so it'd be a 10x and a 10x. And since you don't have a middle term, one will be minus, one will be plus, and the square root of 169 is 13, and it does have a y squared, so that actually be 13y and 13y. So we would have 10x minus 13y and 10x plus 13y. So F would be one of your answers. 18. Determine if x squared plus 25 is a difference. Well, look, difference means subtract. That's addition. So the expression is not factorable. And the reason being, let me just kind of, if you try to do this and go x and x, and the thing is that one can't be a plus, one can't be a minus, and that last term is a positive. So you can't even go minus 5 plus 5. It would cancel out to not give you a middle term. However, negative 5 times 5 is negative 25. So that's the reason on that one. All right, let's take a look at 19. Expression 25x squared minus 20x plus 4 factors as ax minus b squared, which is of the following is equal to ax minus b. So we're going to have 5x, and let's see, since that's a plus, it's going to be the same. That tells you what they're both going to be. So it'll be 5x minus 2, 5x minus 2. Negative 10 is 20, negative 20. So that'll work. So it'll be 5x minus 2, which of the following is equal to ax minus b. All it means is what's one of the factors. That's all that means. So it'll be that one. All right, 20. Factor the expression. So we've got an x and an x. Since that's a plus, it tells you they're going to be the same. That tells you what they're both going to be. And the square root of 9 is 3. And when you add 3 and 3 together, it gives you the middle term of 6. So it'll be x minus 3 quantity squared. I believe that's it. All right. Hope you understood this. Bye-bye.